What's up, everybody? It's your boy Bert, and it's time for a Commander deck tech. This time featuring Faldorn, Dreadwolf Herald. I've had a couple of iterations of this deck for a while now, but this is the one of my best builds, and I wanted to share the deck with you. So let's get started. So, as Commander players, we know that our deck has to have some certain number of effects so our deck will work. I'm talking things like card draw, ramp, removal, board wipes, and then a number of lands that paved the way for the actual spice in the deck. So before we get into the actual spice, let's go over the fundamental effects in my deck. I am running 36 lands, with it being 40 with MDFC's Moto double face cards. So I have a good number of lands so that we can either hit those lands off of Faldorn, or we just make sure we hit our land drop every turn. Okay, so Faldorn is a little bit different than most Commander decks, so we run a suite of Impulse Draw. We want Impulse Draw. It has a premium in this deck, so we can use our Commander's ability to get those wolves. I run cards like Sylvan Library and Shamanic Revelation, just to have some pure card draw in the deck. But most of my card draw is going to be like Reckless Impulse. A new addition is Wild Wasteland, Rinse Resolve, Rob the Archives, the backside of Bergie, which is Horn of Hardenfeld, I believe. Hardenfeld, Horn of Bounty. So we mostly use it for that. So we have to have cards in hand to use that. And then we have Dark Dweller Oracle, where we can sacrifice creatures to do the Impulse Draw. We also have Valakut Awakening, which is a sweet draw spell that basically allows you to fix your hand. And then another card that I put in a different section is going to be Invasion of Kaldheim. It's a multifaceted card. Battles, I feel like, confuse people a lot of the time, but this battle is made for this deck. Whenever it comes into the battlefield, exile all cards into your hand, and draw that many cards. Until the end of your next turn, you may play the cards exiled this way. So you basically double your hand for a turn. If you don't like what's in your hand, you can just play this, exile the cards. You can get a fresh, whatever you had, fresh 3, fresh 5, fresh 7. It's really powerful effect. So that's going to be my card draw package. So let's go ahead and move to the ramp, shall we? So my ramp package pretty much consists of every 2-mana ramp spell that we have, plus Soul Ring. So we have the 3 Visits, the Nature's Lore, the Farseer, the Rampant Growth. And then we have some additional effects where we have the Exploration, Wayward Swordtooth, and Oracle of Modiah. So these effects allow me to play additional lands per turn. Because one of the worst feelings in the world is flipping off the top and it's a land and you've already played your land for turn. So in this deck, you have to be mindful of when you're playing that land. But these 3 help me play those additional lands and then get some more effects from Faldorn. We also have Goblin and Archaeomancer, which reduces my green and red spells by 1 to cast. Soul Ring because Soul Ring, and then we have Search for Tomorrow, which is a Faldorn staple. Basically, we can suspend it on turn 1 or a later turn and get that cast from exile, so we can have a cast trigger from Faldorn. Let's see. Let's go into the removal, shall we? So honestly, I won't lie, I'm a little bit light on the removal department. So my board wipes are gonna be Blade Blast, Fireball, and Blasphemous Act. And then I also run Shadow Skull Smashing for a little bit of targeted removal. it's a little bit expensive, but it's also land on the back, so it's kind of hard to beat. I also run Force of Vigor and Arcuate Charm. Arcuate Charm just being like a really strong modal spell that has different uses throughout the game, which makes it a very strong card. I also have Beast Within and Chaos Warp. So while it's only 7 cards, I feel like we have a nice little suite for when we want to board wipe or do some removal. But yeah, I usually like to keep a little bit more in my removal package. Now let's get into the spice. These are cards that don't really have a function as the sections that I mentioned before, but some of my favorites are included in this section. So one of my favorite cards in the deck is going to have redundancy. You're going to have redundant effects in your deck, so that just in case Faldorn's not out, we still can get some benefit off of the cards. Iraxa, Empress of Mars, is one of my favorite cards in the deck because we can get the similar effect of Faldorn, although is when you cast a spell, so we don't get the land off of Iraxa. But she does have Battle Cry, so she powers up our attacks as well. But right now, Iraxa is one of my favorite cards in the deck. And then some things like Longhorn Dracosaur, NT Seneschal of the Sun, Magmatic Channeler, Veronica, Dissident Scribe, all allow me to discard cards or exile cards from the top of my library so that I can create the benefit of Faldorn's trigger. So these have a premium as well. They're just really good in the deck. And then one of my all-time favorite cards in the history of Magic is going to be Xenagos the Reveler. So Xenagos the Reveler has a plus that makes mana, and in this deck we want to make all the creatures that we can, and it makes mana equals to the number of creatures you control. It's just a really powerful effect. If we're behind, we can make a Satyr, and it comes in with haste, but it's really about that +1. Other effects that I enjoy are going to be Rose, Cutthroat Raider. She makes jump depending on how many opponents we attacked each turn. And that just creates a lot of card advantage that we can create. And then another card that we enjoy is going to be Keeper of Secrets and Passionate Archaeologist. They do similar things. One keeps my commander on the battlefield, however. So Keeper of Secrets is from the Warhammer decks, and whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, Keeper of Secrets deal damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. And Passionate Archaeologist gives my commander, whenever you cast a spell from exile, this creature deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to target opponent. So they're similar effects and can be considered a link on in the deck, as dealing direct damage to my opponents is just really good. So we have Trumpeting Carnosaur as well as Bloodbraid Elf and Chimol the Inner Sun, which allow me to exile cards again from the top of my deck. They're sensing a thing. And then kind of, well, one is actually Cascade, and then the other two are Discover effects, which is pretty good. They've been good for the deck, and I've enjoyed them a lot. And Trumpeting Carnosaur actually has the additional effect of being able to be discarded for to deal 3 damage, which isn't something to laugh at. You can remove something at instant speed with that, so that's really sweet. I also want to take some time to shout out Listener Altos on Twitter. for making me these Upa wolf tokens. He's a really talented artist, and if you haven't, you definitely should check him out. I'll leave his links in the description. Yeah, and speaking of Cascade, we have the Cascade Machine, Apex Devastator. Apex Devastator is just a huge Magic the Gathering card. 10 mana for a 10/10, and it has Cascade, 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 Cascade. So we Cascade 4 times total, and that just puts us ahead on board. But for 10 mana, it gets us maybe 16, 17, 18, sometimes 20 mana worth of things. It's a really good investment on a card. So that's all that I have for you. Overall, this is one of my favorite decks to jam lately. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and stay tuned for more.